Rain drummed against Danny's backpack as he trudged through the overgrown lot behind the old Henderson factory. Most kids took the long way home, sticking to sidewalks and crosswalks like their parents taught them. Danny preferred the shortcut. Fewer people meant fewer questions about why he always had dirt on his knees or leaves in his hair. The vacant lot was his thinking place. Today he was thinking about the math test he probably failed and whether his mom would notice if he hid the graded paper when it came back. She worked double shifts at the hospital and barely had time to check his homework anymore, but she always seemed to know when something was wrong. A scratching sound made him stop. It came from behind a pile of soggy cardboard boxes someone had dumped near the chain-link fence. Probably a raccoon or a stray cat. Danny had already brought home 3 cats this year. His mom had given 2 away to neighbors and kept one because it wouldn't stop following Danny around. The scratching got louder, more desperate. Then came a sound he had never heard before. A weak chirp, almost like a bird, but lower and raspier. Danny pushed aside the wet cardboard. What he found made him freeze. The creature was about the size of a football, covered in pure white scales that looked almost transparent in the gray afternoon light. Its eyes were pink like a lab rat's, but they held an intelligence that made Danny's breath catch. 2 small wings lay crumpled against its sides, one of them torn and bleeding. Burns marked its pale body in several places, the flesh underneath angry, and red.it was a dragon. A real dragon. Danny had seen him on news broadcasts from the outer colonies. The dragon species controlled half the known galaxy and barely tolerated humanity's existence. They were massive, powerful, and supposedly had no interest in Earth beyond basic trade agreements. What was one doing in a vacant lot in Seattle? This one was definitely not massive. It was tiny and broken and shivering in the rain. The dragon lifted its head and looked directly at Danny. Its pink eyes were cloudy with pain. It made that chirping sound again and tried to crawl forward. One of its front legs buckled and it collapsed onto the muddy ground. Danny knelt down slowly. His science teacher said dragons were dangerous predators. The news said they viewed humans as weak and worthless. Everything he had ever heard told him to walk away or call animal control. But those pink eyes were looking at him with something he recognized. He had seen it in the stray cats he brought home. In the injured bird he had tried to save last spring. In his own reflection, sometimes when his mom worked late and the apartment felt too empty, the dragon needed help. Danny unzipped his jacket and carefully wrapped it around the trembling creature. It was surprisingly light, all bones and delicate scales. The dragon made a soft sound that might have been protest or relief. Up close, Danny could see it was breathing too fast, and its body temperature felt wrong, like it was burning up and freezing at the same time. "I got you," Danny whispered. "You're okay now." The dragon's eyes focused on him with startling clarity for just a moment. Then they drifted closed. Getting the dragon home without being seen took careful planning. Danny waited until he reached his apartment building, checked that the lobby was empty, and took the stairs instead of the elevator. Mrs. Chun from 3B always used the elevator, and she always asked questions. His mom wouldn't be home for another 4 hours. Plenty of time to figure out what to do. Danny's room was small, but organized. Bed in the corner, desk under the window, and a closet that still had space since he didn't own many clothes. He cleared out the bottom of the closet and lined it with his spare blankets, creating a soft nest. The dragon barely stirred as Danny laid it down carefully. In better light, he could see just how hurt it really was. The torn wing looked painful. The burns needed treatment. There were cuts he hadn't noticed before, thin and precise like knife wounds. Someone had hurt this creature on purpose. Danny grabbed his first aid kit from under the bathroom sink. His mom had taught him basic wound care. After the 3rd time, he came home bleeding from climbing trees. He had antiseptic, bandages, and antibiotic ointment. He worked slowly and carefully, cleaning each wound while the dragon slept. When he touched the torn wing, the creature whimpered but didn't wake. Danny used the smallest bandages he had, trying to stabilize the torn membrane without restricting movement. The burns were the worst. They looked like energy weapon marks, the kind soldiers used in the colony wars. Danny applied ointment as gently as he could and covered them with gauze. By the time he finished, The dragon's breathing had steadied. It was still too warm, but not dangerously so. Danny filled a shallow bowl with water and placed it near the makeshift nest. Then he sat back and watched the creature sleep. His phone buzzed. A text from his mom saying she had to cover another shift and would be home late. Leftovers in the fridge for dinner. Danny texted back a thumbs up and stared at the sleeping dragon. What had he just done? Dragons weren't pets. They weren't even friendly to humans. If anyone found out he was hiding one in his closet, there would be questions he couldn't answer. The government might get involved. Scientists might want to study it. The dragon stirred and opened one pink eye. It looked at Danny for a long moment, then at the bandages on its body, then back at Danny. Something like confusion crossed its small face. Danny smiled. You were hurt. I'm trying to help. The dragon closed its eye again, but Danny could have sworn it moved slightly closer to where he Saturday outside. Rain continued to fall on Seattle. Somewhere far above Earth's atmosphere, a massive warship began scanning for a missing prince. And in a small apartment closet, a 12-year-old boy and a tiny albino dragon started an unlikely friendship that would change the galaxy forever. But Danny didn't know any of that yet. He just knew something needed help, and he couldn't walk away. 3 days passed in careful secrecy. Danny developed a routine that would have impressed a spy. Wake up early, check on the dragon, leave food and fresh water, go to school, rush home, repeat. His mom worked so much she barely noticed his new dedication to staying in his room. The dragon ate cooked chicken from the fridge. Danny discovered this on day 2 when he offered everything from cereal to leftover pizza. The dragon sniffed each option with obvious disgust until Danny microwaved some chicken strips. Those disappeared in seconds. Picky eater, Danny muttered, watching the dragon lick its pale claws clean. Day 3. The improvement was remarkable. The burns had faded to pink marks. The cuts were nearly invisible. Most surprising was the torn wing. The membrane had somehow regrown, delicate and translucent, but whole. The dragon could fold both wings properly now, though it hadn't tried to FLY. IT also wouldn't leave Danny alone when he was home. The creature followed him from closet to desk to bed, always staying within a few feet. When Danny did homework, the dragon curled up on his pillow and watched him work. Those pink eyes tracked every pencil movement like it was studying his technique. Do dragons go to school? Danny asked while struggling through algebra. The dragon tilted its head, but obviously couldn't answer. Danny had spent his lunch periods at the school library, researching everything he could find about dragons. The information was limited and mostly secondhand. Dragons rarely interacted with humans beyond formal diplomatic channels. They controlled a vast empire built on military strength and personal honor. Weakness was not tolerated in their society. Injured dragons were apparently left to prove their strength by surviving alone or die with dignity. That last part bothered Danny more than anything else. What kind of species abandoned their own people when they were hurt? On the 4th day, everything changed. Danny came home from school to find the dragon sitting in the middle of his room, staring at something on the floor. As Danny got closer, he realized it was a small device, barely bigger than a watch battery. It must have been hidden in what remained of a collar around the dragon's neck. The dragon looked up at Danny and made a series of clicks and chirps. Then the small device glowed blue. You were kind. What? The voice came from the device, translated from whatever language the dragon spoke. It sounded young and confused. Danny sat down slowly on his bed. You can talk. More clicks and chirps. The device translated. The speech maker was damaged. I fixed it while you were gone. You did not answer my question. Why are you kind to me? Because you were hurt, Danny said simply. I couldn't just leave you there. The dragon made a sound the device didn't translate. Then, in my world, the wounded are left alone. If they are strong, they survive. If they are weak, they die. This makes the species stronger. You understand? I understand that sounds really lonely. Silence filled the room. The dragon stared at Danny with those unsettling pink eyes. Lonely, the device finally translated. I did not know this word in context. Explain. Danny thought about how to put it into words. It means being alone when you don't want to be. Feeling like nobody cares if you're okay. Like you could disappear and it wouldn't matter. The dragon's tail twitched. This is normal for dragons. We are taught strength from birth. Emotional attachment is weakness. That's sad. You think our way is wrong. Danny shrugged. I think if everyone in your world got hurt and nobody helped, you'd all just die eventually. Helping each other isn't weakness. It's how things survive. The dragon moved closer, climbing onto the bed with surprising grace. It settled near Danny's knee, warmer than a cat, but not uncomfortably so. I am Prince Ash, the device translated, youngest son of a dragon queen. My brothers attacked me because I am smallest and weakest. They left me on your world because they believed humans would be too afraid or too cruel to help a dragon. They wanted me to die afraid and alone, proving I was not worthy of the royal bloodline. Danny felt anger flash through him. Your own brothers try to kill you? Yes. This is Dragon Way. Only the strong rule. I am not strong by dragon measure. You're strong enough to survive what they did to you, Danny pointed out. You're strong enough to fix that translator thing. You're strong enough to be sitting here talking to me instead of giving up. Sounds pretty strong to me. Prince Ash went very still. You measure strength differently than dragons do. Maybe. Is that bad? I do not know yet. The dragon paused. Danny, there is something you must know. My people will find me soon. The tracker in my collar has activated. They will come within 2 of your days. Danny's stomach dropped. What happens when they get here? They will test you. Dragon law says any being who helps a dragon must prove they are worthy. If you fail the test, they will kill you for daring to touch a member of the royal family. And if I run, hide you somewhere else. They will hunt you as a coward. You will be killed anyway. Prince Ash's voice through the translator sounded almost apologetic. I am sorry. I have brought danger to you. This is why dragons do not accept help. It creates obligation and death. Danny sat with that information for a minute. 2 days until huge, dangerous dragons showed up to test whether he deserved to live. 2 days to prepare for something he didn't understand. What kind of test? He finally asked. Usually combat. They will want to see if you are strong enough to have earned the honor of helping me. I'm 12. I can't fight giant warrior dragons. I know. I'm sorry. Danny looked at the small dragon sitting on his bed. Prince Ash had been thrown away by his own family, left to die alone on a strange world. He had crawled through rain and pain to find help, probably expecting none, and now he was apologizing for being rescued. Stop saying you're sorry, Danny said firmly. You didn't ask to be attacked. You didn't ask to be abandoned. And you're not responsible for whatever your people do when they get here. You're not afraid. I'm terrified, Danny admitted. But being scared doesn't mean I regret helping you. It just means I need to think really hard about what to do next. Prince Ash moved even closer, pressing his small body against Danny's leg. You are very strange for a human. The galaxy says your species is weak and emotional, but you do not act weak. Maybe we're just a different kind of strong. They sat together in the quiet room while afternoon faded to evening. Outside, the galaxy continued spinning. A dragon warship adjusted its course toward Earth. And somewhere in the vast network of galactic communication, word began to spread that Prince Ash's tracker had been located. The test was coming. Danny had 2 days to figure out how to survive it. But first, he had homework to finish and a small dragon to feed. Some things didn't change just because the galaxy was about to turn his world upside down. Danny went to school the next morning like it was any other Thursday. Prince Ash had been confused by this decision. The warriors come tomorrow, the translator device said while Danny packed his backpack. Should you not prepare? Train? Hi, I have a history quiz, Danny replied, shoving his textbook in with his lunch. And if I skip school, my mom will ask questions I can't answer. You face death tomorrow, and you worry about a quiz. Danny paused at his bedroom door. Worrying doesn't change what's coming. The dragons will show up whether I panic about it or not. Might as well spend today doing normal things. He left Prince Ash staring after him with obvious confusion. School dragged. Danny couldn't focus on the Revolutionary War or algebraic equations. His mind kept drifting to tomorrow. Giant dragons. Tests of strength. Probable death. But every time panic started to bubble up, he pushed it back down. Freaking out wouldn't help. During lunch, he returned to the library. Mrs. Rodriguez, the librarian, had stopped asking why he spent so much time in the alien species section. Today, Danny read everything he could find about dragon culture. Dragons valued strength above all else. Physical power, combat skill, and the will to dominate. They had no concept of mercy in battle. Their entire society was built on hierarchies of strength. The weak served the strong. The strong ruled everyone else. Compassion was considered a flaw. Helping others was seen as insulting their ability to help themselves. Dragons who showed kindness were outcast as defective. Danny closed the book and leaned back in his chair. How was he supposed to pass a test created by beings who thought kindness was weakness? He had no combat skills. He couldn't overpower a dragon warrior. He was exactly what they thought all humans were, small, weak, and soft. But he had helped Prince Ash anyway. That had to mean something. When Danny got home, Prince Ash was waiting by the door. The small dragon had grown over the past few days. Now he was the size of a large dog, his white scales gleaming with health. The pink eyes were clear and bright. "I need to understand something," Prince Ash said through the translator. "Why are you not afraid?" Danny set down his backpack. "I'm afraid. I'm just not letting fear make my decisions." Explain this concept. Danny thought about it while he grabbed a snack from the kitchen. Prince Ash followed, his claws clicking on the tile floor. "Fear is information," Danny said finally. "It tells you something is dangerous, but it doesn't tell you what to do about it. If I spend all my time being scared, I can't think clearly. So I acknowledge that I'm afraid, and then I think about what to do anyway." Prince Ash tilted his head. "Dragons use fear differently. We use it to fuel aggression. Fear makes us fight harder. Does that work? Usually. But I was afraid when my brothers attacked me, and fighting harder did not save me. Crawling to you did." They sat together on the couch. Danny turned on the TV, but didn't really watch it. Prince Ash curled up next to him, radiating warmth. "Tell me about your family," Danny said. "Not the brothers who attacked you. What was it like before that?" Prince Ash was quiet for a moment. "I hatched smallest of 5 eggs. From the beginning, I was weaker. Could not breathe fire as hot. Could not fly as fast. My mother, the queen, said I was acceptable but disappointing. My father said nothing. He died in battle when I was young. That sounds hard. It is normal for dragons. But sometimes I wondered what it would be like to have family who did not measure my worth by my strength." Danny looked at the small dragon. "For what it's worth, I think you're pretty brave. You survived an attack that was supposed to kill you, fixed a broken translator with no tools, and you're sitting here calmly talking about the dragons coming to test me tomorrow. That takes guts. Guts. Courage. Strength of a different kind." Prince Ash made a sound that the translator interpreted as thoughtful humming. "You keep using that phrase. Different kind of strength. What does it mean?" Danny spent the next hour trying to explain. He talked about how humans valued cooperation over domination, how they built strength through community instead of individual power, how sometimes the strongest thing you could do was ask for help or offer it. Prince Ash listened intently, occasionally asking questions that made Danny think harder about his answers. "So when you found me," the dragon said slowly, "you did not see a chance to gain power over a dragon prince. You saw someone who needed help, right? And you helped because you believe that building connections is more valuable than proving dominance." Basically, yeah, this is very strange. But also, Prince Ash paused. "Also interesting. In dragon culture, I am worthless because I am weak. But in your culture, worth is not measured by physical strength alone. Everyone has worth," Danny said. "You don't have to earn the right to be cared about." The translator was silent for a long moment. Then Prince Ash said quietly, "I wish I had been born human." Danny felt his chest tighten. "I'm glad you're a dragon. Otherwise, I wouldn't have met you." They talked until late into the evening. Prince Ash told stories about the Dragon Imperium, about planets and species Danny had never heard of. Danny talked about school and his mom and growing up in Seattle. It felt like talking to a friend, not an alien prince. When Danny finally got ready for bed, Prince Ash stopped him. "Tomorrow when the warriors come, I could flee," the dragon said. "If I leave before they arrive, they will not test you. You will be safe." Danny shook his head. They'd just hunt you down, and I'd spend the rest of my life wondering if you were okay. You would rather face possible death than let me go. You're my friend now. Friends don't abandon each other when things get scary. Prince Ash stared at him. I do not understand you, but I'm grateful for you. That night, Danny lay awake staring at his ceiling. Tomorrow, dragons would come. They would probably kill him because he couldn't fight like they wanted. But he had spent the last few days with Prince Ash, learning about a completely different culture and sharing his own. He had made a friend across species lines that, if these were his last days, at least he had spent them doing something meaningful. His phone buzzed. A text from his mom saying she had to work a double shift and wouldn't be home until late tomorrow. Danny texted back that he loved her, just in case. Then he closed his eyes and tried to sleep. Tomorrow would come whether he was ready or not. But tonight, he had done what he could. He had been himself. Sometimes, that was the only preparation that mattered. They arrived at exactly noon. Danny was in his backyard, sitting on the old wooden steps when the air began to shimmer. Prince Ash sat beside him, tense and ready. 5 pillars of light materialized on the grass. When the light faded, 5 massive dragons stood where Danny's mom usually hung laundry. Each one was at least 15 feet tall, covered in obsidian scales that gleamed like metal. Their eyes glowed amber in the midday sun. They looked like legends come to life, terrifying and beautiful. The largest dragon stepped forward. Scars covered his body, each one probably a story of battle. His voice rumbled like thunder. I am General Crane of the Dragon Imperium. We have come for Prince Ash. Danny stood up slowly. His legs wanted to shake, but he locked his knees. He's right here. He's safe. All 5 dragons stared at Danny like he was an insect that had learned to speak. General Crane's eyes narrowed. You're a human child. You sheltered a dragon prince. This requires explanation. He was hurt. I helped him. That's really all there is to it. Another dragon, this one with silver streaks through her black scales, hissed. Impossible. Humans fear dragons. This must be a political plot. Perhaps espionage. Prince Ash stepped forward. I was dying. Danny found me and asked nothing in return. He gave medical care, food, and shelter. He did not know I was a prince. He helped because I needed help. General Crane looked between Prince Ash and Danny. You appear healthy, young prince. The human's care was adequate, more than adequate. He saved my life. Then we must conduct the trial of flame. Dragon law is clear. Any being who aids a royal dragon must prove worthy of that honor. Crane's gaze fixed on Danny. You will face one of my warriors in single combat. If you show sufficient strength, you will live. If you're weak, you die. This is tradition. Danny had expected this. He had spent last night thinking about it. What if I refused to fight? The dragons roared. The sound shook the ground and made Danny's ears ring. The silver-streaked dragon stepped forward, smoke curling from her nostrils. Refuse? You would show cowardice? This proves humans are weak. I didn't say I was afraid, Danny said clearly. I said I refused to fight. There's a difference. General Crane raised one massive claw for silence. Explain this difference, human. Danny took a breath. This was it. His only chance. You want to test my strength? Fine, but I won't prove I'm strong by your definition. I'll prove humans are strong in our own way. There's only one kind of strength. Power in battle. No, Danny said firmly. That's one kind. Here's my proposal. Instead of fighting, I'll answer 3 questions. You judge whether my answers show strength. If I fail, I accept whatever you decide. But you have to really listen to what I say. The dragons looked at each other. This had clearly never happened before. General Crane's expression was unreadable. You would gamble your life on words. Yes. A long silence. Then Crane nodded slowly. Very well. This is unusual, but dragon law does not specifically forbid it. 3 questions. Answer with strength or die with weakness. He paused. First question, what is your greatest strength? Danny had thought about this. My greatest strength is that I can be afraid and still do what's right. Fear doesn't control me. I feel it, I acknowledge it, and then I choose my actions anyway. That's not weakness. That's strength. The silver dragon snorted. Fear is weakness. Dragons overcome fear through aggression. No, Danny said. You hide fear with aggression. I face it directly. Which one of us is really braver? General Crane's eyes flickered with something that might have been respect. Interesting answer. Second question, what would you die for? For anyone who needed help and couldn't save themselves. Like Prince Ash when I found him. I'd die for a stranger if they needed me, because that's what makes life worth living. Knowing you made a difference. Knowing someone is okay because you were there. One of the other warriors spoke for the first time. You would die for beings you do not know? This is insanity. It's compassion, and it's the foundation of human civilization. We survive because we help each other. General Crane studied Danny for a long moment. Third question, and this is most important. Why did you save our prince when we dragons have shown your species nothing but contempt? We have made it clear we consider humans inferior. Yet you helped anyway. Why? This was the real test. Danny knew it. He chose his words carefully. Because he needed help. When I found Prince Ash, I didn't see a dragon or a human. I didn't think about politics or species. I saw someone suffering, someone who was scared and alone and hurt. And I could do something about it. That's what humans do. We care, even when it's hard, even when it's not returned, even when the person we're helping might not deserve it by some measure. Danny stepped closer to the massive dragons, his fear pushed aside by conviction. You call compassion weakness. You say helping others makes us soft, but I think it's the strongest thing we have. It takes no strength to walk past someone who's suffering. That's easy. What's hard is stopping. What's hard is caring when the galaxy tells you not to. What's hard is choosing kindness when cruelty would be simpler. He looked directly at General Crane. Prince Ash's brothers left him to die because they thought it made them strong. But he survived because I helped him. So who is really stronger? The brothers who needed him gone to feel powerful? Or me, who helped him because it was the right thing to do? Silence fell over the backyard. The 5 dragons stood perfectly still. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Then Prince Ash did something no one expected. He walked to Danny and knelt down, lowering his head in a gesture of deep respect. I pledge my life to Danny Kim, the young dragon said clearly. He is the strongest being I have ever met. He showed me that strength comes in forms my people have forgotten. He saved me expecting nothing. He faced you expecting death. And he speaks truth that makes me question everything I was taught. General Crane's expression shifted. You pledge your life to a human child? Do you understand what this means? Yes. It means I finally understand what strength really is. The general looked at Danny for a long moment. Then, slowly, he lowered his head in a slight bow. I have fought in 1,000 battles. I have conquered planets and defeated champions. But never have I heard words like yours, human child. You did not win through combat. You won through truth. He straightened. The trial is complete. You have proven worthy. The silver dragon hissed in protest. This is unprecedented. He did not fight. He did not need to fight. He showed a strength we dragons have long forgotten. Crane's amber eyes glowed. Perhaps we've been measuring strength wrong all along. Danny's legs finally started shaking, but he stayed standing. So I can live. You can live. More than that, you have earned something rare. You have earned respect from the Dragon Imperium. Crane paused. But know this, Danny Kim. By accepting Prince Ash's life pledge, you have bound yourself to him. Where he goes, you are responsible. What he does reflects on you. This will have consequences. I understand. I do not think you do, but you will learn. The general turned to his warriors. We return to the fleet. There is much to report. The 5 dragons shimmered and vanished in pillars of light, leaving Danny and Prince Ash alone in the backyard. Danny sat down heavily on the steps. His whole body was trembling now that the adrenaline was fading. That actually worked, he whispered. Prince Ash sat beside him. You are magnificent. You faced the greatest warriors of my species and changed their minds with words alone. I just told the truth. Sometimes that is the greatest strength of all. They sat together in the afternoon sun, not knowing that their conversation had been recorded and was already spreading across the galactic network. Not knowing that in a few hours, the entire galaxy would be talking about the human child who passed a dragon trial without throwing a punch. The test was over. But the real story was just beginning. The video went viral in less than 3 hours. Someone in General Crane's crew had recorded the whole trial and leaked it to the Galactic Network. By evening, every species with access to communication technology had watched a human child face down dragon warriors with nothing but words. Danny discovered this when his phone started buzzing non-stop with news alerts. Earth's government had apparently lost its collective mind. The Secretary of Interspecies Relations wanted to meet him. The president's office was calling. News crews were setting up outside his apartment building. His mom came home early from her shift at the hospital, took one look at the chaos outside, and marched straight to Danny's room. "Daniel Francis Kim, why are there aliens on our lawn?" Prince Ash, now the size of a small horse, raised his head from where he had been napping on Danny's bed. "Good evening, Mrs. Kim. I am Prince Ash of the Dragon Imperium. Your son saved my life." Danny's mom sat down heavily on his desk chair. "I need someone to explain everything. Right now." It took an hour to tell the whole story. His mom listened without interrupting, her expression cycling through disbelief, anger, fear, and finally settling on exhausted acceptance. "So let me get this straight," she said. "You've been hiding an alien prince in your closet for a week. You faced a death trial this afternoon, and now the entire galaxy is watching our house." "Pretty much, yeah." She looked at Prince Ash. "You promise my son is safe? I have pledged my life to his protection. No dragon will harm him while I live." "Good, because if anything happens to him, I will find a way to hurt you, prince or not." Prince Ash bowed his head respectfully. "I would expect nothing less from a mother." Over the next few days, the situation spiraled in ways Danny had never imagined. The Galactic Network exploded with commentary. Warrior species were confused and intrigued. How had weakness won? Diplomatic species saw opportunity for new negotiation strategies. Predator species began testing humanity, sending representatives to challenge human philosophy. The Dragon Queen herself requested a video call. Danny found himself sitting at his desk, staring at a holographic projection of the most powerful dragon in the galaxy. She looked like Prince Ash would in a few hundred years, white scales gleaming with age and wisdom. "You saved my smallest son," she said without preamble, "the one I had written off as weak. You have made me question centuries of tradition. I just helped someone who needed it," Danny said, trying not to sound as terrified as he felt. "That is precisely what troubles me. In dragon culture, such action is incomprehensible. Yet you did it naturally, expecting nothing. My son tells me you have taught him about different kinds of strength." Prince Ash, sitting beside Danny, spoke up. "Mother, Danny showed me that physical power is not the only measure of worth. That compassion and cooperation can achieve what violence cannot." The Queen was silent for a long moment. "The Imperium is watching this situation closely, young human. You have created ripples in a very deep pond." More visitors came. A delegation from the Keleth Collective, a species of telepathic scholars, wanted to study human empathy. The Warden clans, famous mercenaries, challenged human cities to prove their protective strength. Dozens of species sent representatives to Earth, all trying to understand how a 12-year-old had changed a dragon's worldview. But the real chaos started when other species began testing whether humans would really help anyone in need. A Sarvan trader ship dumped an injured crew member at a human hospital and left, watching to see if humans would provide care to a species they had never met. They did that. A Thelon explorer, known for extreme aggression, collapsed outside a human school claiming illness. Teachers brought them inside, gave medical care, and asked nothing in return. Over and over, species tested humanity's compassion. And over, humans passed without even knowing they were being tested. Prince Ash watched all of this with fascination. "Your species does not even realize how unusual this is. You help because it does not occur to you not to help." Danny was trying to do homework while news drones hovered outside his window. "Is that weird?" "It is revolutionary." The situation reached a crisis point 2 weeks after the trial. A radical faction of dragons, those who refused to accept that compassion could be strength, decided to prove humanity wrong. They attacked a human hospital in New York, claiming that if humans truly valued helping the weak, They would reveal their true weakness, try to protect sick people. It was a trap designed to humiliate humanity on a galactic stage. Danny watched the news coverage with growing horror. The hospital was surrounded. Patients were trapped inside. The Dragon Warriors were demanding humans send their strongest fighters or prove they were cowards. "They're going to force your people to fight," Prince Ash said quietly. "And when humans lose, they will claim compassion is weakness after all." But humanity did something the dragons did not expect. Instead of sending soldiers, humans sent evacuation teams. Doctors and nurses calmly organized patient transfers while explaining to the dragons exactly what they were doing. Firefighters set up protective barriers. Volunteers formed human chains to move people who could not walk, and they talked to the dragons. They explained each patient's condition. They described the treatments being administered. They asked politely for the dragons to move aside so a patient in critical condition could reach an ambulance. The dragons were so confused, they actually moved that a nurse named Betty became famous overnight for wheeling an elderly man past a 15-foot dragon warrior while explaining his heart condition in detail and asking the dragon if he could please step left because the wheelchair did not turn well on gravel. The dragon stepped left. Cameras captured the whole thing. Humans under attack, not fighting back, not running away, but calmly prioritizing saving lives while treating their attackers with basic courtesy. It looked insane. It looked like suicide. It looked like the strongest thing the galaxy had ever seen. The radical dragons withdrew in confusion. They had expected fear and violence. They got organized compassion and polite requests to not block the ambulances. General Crane appeared on Galactic News that evening. "I told my people that the human child showed unusual strength. I did not realize his entire species operates this way. They do not fight when threatened. They protect. They do not dominate. They cooperate. This is not weakness. This is something we dragons have never encountered." Prince Ash turned to Danny. "Your species is changing the galaxy's understanding of strength. Because of you, I just helped a dragon I found in the rain," Danny said. "I didn't mean to start anything. The best revolutions often start that way." Within days, something unprecedented happened. Species began requesting human mediators for conflicts. If humans could stay calm under dragon attack, maybe they could negotiate impossible situations. Earth's government, overwhelmed, started training diplomatic teams in what they call the Danny Kim approach, compassionate clarity under pressure. Danny tried to return to normal life. He went to school, did homework, played video games. But now Prince Ash came with him everywhere, and people recognized him. The boy who changed the galaxy and his dragon friend. His mom adapted faster than Danny expected. She set rules. Prince Ash could stay, but had to help with chores. No burning things in the apartment. If dignitaries wanted to visit, they made appointments like normal people. The Dragon Queen called it delightfully human practicality. But Danny knew this was just the beginning. The galaxy was watching humanity now, trying to understand a species that chose compassion over conquest. And somehow, he had become the face of that choice. He looked at Prince Ash, who was attempting to use his claws to help with algebra homework. "Do you think this will all calm down eventually?" Danny asked. "No," Prince Ash said honestly. "I think you have shown the galaxy something it cannot unsee. Everything is different now." Danny sighed and went back to his homework. The galaxy could be different tomorrow. Tonight, he had equations to solve. 3 months after finding Prince Ash in the rain, Danny sat in a United Nations conference room surrounded by representatives from 47 different species. He was supposed to be in math class. "This is ridiculous," he muttered to Prince Ash, who lay beside his chair like a very large, very white guard dog. "You started this revolution," the dragon replied through his translator. "Now you must help finish it." The meeting was about something called the Sanctuary Accord. After the hospital incident, species across the galaxy had started asking if humanity would extend its protective instincts beyond Earth. Dozens of worlds wanted human teams to help with medical care, disaster relief, and conflict mediation. The Earth government was overwhelmed. They had never expected to become the galaxy's helpers. Ambassador Liu, who was leading Earth's delegation, turned to Danny. You understand these species better than our diplomats. They all reference you. What do you think we should do? Danny looked at the holographic displays showing requests from across the galaxy. Injured soldiers who needed medical care their own species would not provide. Refugees from collapsed civilizations who had nowhere to go. Species in conflict who wanted neutral mediators. I think we help, Danny said simply. That's what we do, right? A Kelith representative, their telepathic voice translated through speakers, responded. But humans have limited resources. You cannot save everyone. How do you choose? We don't choose. We organize. We teach other species how to help too. We make this bigger than just humans. Prince Ash raised his head. Danny is correct. Humanity's strength is not just that they help. It is that they inspire others to help. They create systems of care. Over the following weeks, Danny found himself part of something unprecedented. The Sanctuary Accord became a galactic treaty. Humans would establish care facilities on multiple worlds, but other species would contribute according to their strengths. Dragons provided protection. Kelith offered telepathic therapy. The Warden clans, reformed from mercenaries, became security for vulnerable populations. Humanity became the heart of a galactic care network, not through conquest, but through example that Danny's role became clearer. He was not a leader or a politician. He was a reminder. Whenever species fell back into old patterns of violence or domination, someone would reference the 12-year-old who faced dragons with compassion. It was hard to argue for cruelty when a child had proven kindness worked. The dragons changed most dramatically. Prince Ash was not the only one questioning their culture. Young dragons began requesting transfers to human worlds to study cooperation. The Dragon Queen established new laws protecting the injured and weak. It was not a complete transformation, but it was a beginning. General Crane visited Danny's apartment one evening, somehow managing to fit his massive frame in their living room. Danny's mom served tea like this was completely normal. I have spent my life believing strength meant dominance, the general said. You showed me I was wrong. I am too old to change completely, but I want young dragons to learn what you taught Prince Ash. What did I teach him? Danny asked. That vulnerability is not weakness. That asking for help is brave. That the strongest thing you can do is care when caring is difficult. Danny's mom smiled. That's just good parenting advice. Crane bowed his head to her. Perhaps humans have been parenting correctly all along. School became complicated. Danny was still 12, still had homework and chores, but now he also had alien students in his classes. The first dragon student at his middle school was a young female named Frost who refused to sit anywhere except next to Prince Ash. The Kelith sent younglings to learn human emotional expression. Even a few Thelon, the aggressive species, enrolled to understand cooperation. Danny's history teacher, Mr. Peterson, adapted by teaching comparative culture classes. Today we will discuss how a different species view strength. Danny, would you mind sharing your perspective? It never got less weird. But the weirdest moment came 1 year after finding Prince Ash. Danny was taking his usual shortcut through the vacant lot, this time with Prince Ash flying overhead because he had finally grown large enough for proper flight. Danny heard a familiar sound, scratching, weak chirping. Behind the same pile of cardboard boxes, Danny found another creature. Not a dragon this time. This one looked like a cross between a wolf and a lizard, covered in dark blue scales and fur. It was bleeding from multiple wounds and barely conscious. Danny recognized the species from his comparative culture classes. Thelon, the same species known for extreme aggression and territorial violence. Finding one injured on Earth meant someone had dumped it here to die. Prince Ash landed beside Danny. Thelon are dangerous. This one is probably a criminal. We should call authorities. Danny was already taking off his jacket. It's hurt. Danny, Thelon have killed humans. They do not value life the way you do. Then maybe it's time they learned. Danny wrapped the creature carefully in his jacket, just like he had done with Prince Ash a year ago. The Thelon's eyes opened, yellow and filled with pain and confusion. It tried to growl, but only managed a weak whimper. I got you, Danny said quietly. You're okay now. Prince Ash sighed, but helped carry the injured Thelon back to Danny's apartment. His mom took one look and started boiling water for sterilizing bandages. She did not even seem surprised anymore. By evening, the Thelon was stable, sleeping in the same closet where Prince Ash had recovered. Danny sat on his bed, doing homework while Prince Ash watched the sleeping creature with wary eyes. "You know this will cause another galactic incident," the dragon said. "Probably. And the Thelon may try to kill you when it wakes up. Maybe. Or maybe we'll learn something new, like you did." Prince Ash made a sound that was almost a laugh. "You're going to save the galaxy one injured alien at a time, aren't you?" Danny shrugged. "Someone has to." News of Danny helping a Thelon spread as quickly as the dragon video had. Within days, Thelon representatives arrived on Earth, confused and angry and curious. Why would a human help their species when Thelon had been hostile to humanity for decades? Danny gave the same answer he always gave. Because they needed help. The Thelon delegate, a massive warrior covered in scars, stared at Danny for a long time. "You are either the bravest or the stupidest being I have ever met. Can it be both?" The delegate barked a laugh. "Perhaps. We will send observers to study your methods. I make no promises that Thelon will change, but we will watch." That was enough. 2 years after finding Prince Ash, Earth had become something unprecedented in galactic history. A sanctuary world. Species sent their most vulnerable to human care. Conflict zones requested human mediators. Young beings from aggressive cultures came to learn cooperation. Humanity had not conquered the galaxy. They had not built a military empire or dominated through technology. They had simply helped everyone who asked, and in doing so, had created a network of alliances based on compassion rather than fear. Danny was 14 now, dealing with high school applications and wondering if any school offered classes in interspecies diplomacy. Prince Ash was massive, nearly adult-sized, but still followed Danny everywhere. The Thelon Danny had saved, who called herself Storm, had joined them after recovering, declaring that she owed a life debt to Danny and would protect him whether he wanted it or not. Danny's mom said she needed a bigger apartment if he kept bringing home strays, and on a quiet Tuesday afternoon, Danny sat in the same vacant lot where everything had started. Prince Ash lay in the sun, while Storm investigated interesting smells. Danny was supposed to be studying for biology, but instead was watching clouds drift past. "Do you ever regret it?" Prince Ash asked suddenly. "Your life would be simpler if you had walked past me that day." Danny thought about it. The chaos, the responsibility, the constant galactic attention. Then he thought about the friends he had made across species. The lives saved through the Sanctuary Accord. The young dragons learning that kindness was not weakness. "No," he said honestly. "I don't regret it. Even though you became the face of a galactic revolution, I'm not the revolution. I'm just someone who helped when help was needed. Other humans were doing the same thing all along. I just got noticed for it." Storm raised her head. "You are too modest. You changed how the galaxy views strength. Maybe. Or maybe I just reminded everyone that there are different ways to be strong." They sat together in comfortable silence. Above them, human ships carried medical supplies to distant worlds. Dragon warriors protected refugee centers. Teletherapists helped traumatized populations heal. The galaxy was not perfect, still had conflicts and problems, but it was different than before. And it had all started because a 12-year-old boy could not walk past something that needed help. That Danny's phone buzzed. A message from the Sanctuary Accord coordinators. Another species requesting human assistance. A medical crisis on a mining colony. They needed someone good with cross-species communication. Danny looked at Prince Ash and Storm. "You two busy this weekend?" Prince Ash spread his wings. "For you? Never." They headed home to pack. 3 unlikely friends united by a simple principle that had changed the galaxy. Everyone deserves help, no matter who they are or where they come from. Behind them, the vacant lot stood empty and quiet. But somewhere in the galaxy, another being would fall, another would need help, and another would learn that compassion was not weakness, that IT was the strongest force in the universe. And humanity had taught the galaxy to wield it.